Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. What the hell just happened today? We have brand new Marvel Spider-Man 2 gameplay out of nowhere. It actually happened, the state of play happened, and the impossible, the unpredictable happened. Spider-Man 2 was at state of play, and they revealed this brand new open world gameplay trailer that provided so many exciting new details, and today we are going to break this whole thing down frame by frame in the good old Lunar Squadron fashion. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. Now with that out of the way, Andreas, let's get into this breakdown.
Let's do it, guys. Alright guys, we have a 4-minute long trailer to dig into here, and this trailer is dense. There is a lot going on, so we are going to be unpacking all of the details that are in there, and there's some great stuff in here. A lot of stuff that Brian Inahar himself even glazed over. Of course, we had his voiceover over this giving us more details. For those details, go watch the trailer, come back here, and then we can dig through all these minute hidden details. Some of them are just so awesome. Really, the meat and potatoes of this really does start at about the 30-second marker of this trailer, Nick, with the brand new map that we get for this game. This is the old map, and then it zooms out and shows us that we've got almost double the real estate to play around in this game.
Yes, we sure do. This is something that we all knew going into it, but it's nice to finally get to see the map in all its glory. Of course, we get to see Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens, and it is going to be massive. And as you guys see throughout the rest of this trailer and through this breakdown, this game is just massive in scope.
And one thing that I am wondering is, you can kind of see what I believe to be the boundaries of this map in what is illuminated in the more bright purple hue. But Nick, some of this area on the bottom right, it looks like buildings and streets and that kind of thing on the bottom right, but it's blacked out. Do you think that's just maybe visible city area that is going to be inaccessible in this game, or is that area that's yet to be explored? I feel like they would, if they could, I feel like they would show us the full breadth of this map. So I'm maybe wondering, I know Queens has to lead into Long Island at some point. We were speculating about invisible barriers. Is this going to be that invisible line in the sand that we cannot cross in this game?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable guess, but you never know. It could be one of those things where perhaps it is locked until something happens in like the third act of the game and it takes you to that location and then it unlocks that part of the map. We've seen that in games in the past. So I think both of them are reasonable guesses as to what we're dealing with here, but I think the most realistic one is probably what you said, that's where they drew the line in the sand for this map.
Now, as we go ahead and scrub along here, we get to see some more wingsuit gameplay. A lot of emphasis on the wingsuit. Nick, this is such a massive map that we're going to be very happy that we have the wingsuit to get around.
Yeah, these segments here are very exciting. Just seeing Peter and Miles swing and fly, I guess you could say, through New York City. It looks great. It is beautiful. It is high fidelity. It looks like so much fun. You know, they released an article the other day where they talked about how much attention they put into the traversal, because that is the fantasy of Spider-Man, right? Being able to swing around as Spider-Man. That's what everyone wants to do. And it just looks like they're really capturing it here. Of course, they did in the first two games, but it just looks so good. Maybe because this is the first PS5 exclusive one, the next-gen one. But oh my God, this looks so beautiful.
One thing that I am noting here as Peter is swinging through Times Square, Nick, is it me, or does it feel like we have denser traffic and foot traffic in this game? It looks like this city is a bit more lively this time around.
Yeah, it really does. And if you guys recall back to that other article, lots of articles actually this week, and there were those screenshots of Times Square, and then you compare it to shots from the first game, you could just see it was more alive, there was more detail, there was more going on, and you really see that in this open world gameplay trailer. Now, as we continue scrubbing through this segment, we actually get to see some new shots of Midtown High where Peter and Harry went to school, and we get official confirmation and a look at the Brooklyn Visions Academy where Miles is going to school. And actually, Brooklyn Visions Academy will play a pretty significant role in this game because there will be dedicated Brooklyn Vision's missions in this game, which you guys will see later on in this trailer.
And coming up next, we're going to get actually our first look at this mission select screen, Nick. As you can see at the top here, this is what I believe to be the main mission. We're used to seeing the main mission icon with that little yellow icon there, and it says healing the world. And of course, we know all about healing the world. And Nick, above that, we get a little thumbnail that shows us a little bit more about this mission. It says Pete's touring that new foundation in the city. Nick, this new foundation looks a lot like that place that we saw in the story trailer where Peter was face to face with that bear guy, right? And we were always wondering, what is that? What place is this? It looks like this is what this is referring to here.
Yeah, it sure does. And there's a lot going on here to unpack in this small little menu. Like you said, this is absolutely the main mission, healing the world. Like that's what Venom wants to do, right, from the story trailer. It has that yellow icon like we've seen in the previous games. Then we see a couple more missions where you can actually select through the missions, the main mission or the side quests. We see the Where Have You Been with a weird kind of fire-like icon. And then we see one of those Brooklyn Vision Academy missions where it's called Senior Prank. So there will be side quests where you deal with their personal lives, his school life, what's going on there. And then there's a Spider-Man mission there at the bottom called Find Grandpa. Apparently we're going to go look for someone's grandpa in this game. Like he's going to have those friendly neighborhood missions, stuff like this, like we've seen in the comics and shows in the past. And the other thing that I think is really cool about this menu, Andreas, actually a couple things, is if you look on the right, it will tell you which character you will be using for that mission. So for the top one, it's Pete. The second one is also Peter. The third one is a Miles Morales, which that makes sense because it's Brooklyn Vision's Academy. And then the fourth mission, like they've said in the past, is where you can use either or both of Miles and Peter to accomplish this mission, and perhaps even both of them. And then at the bottom there, we see our first look at how the character switch is actually going to work in this game, and it's pretty damn seamless.
And this is one of my favorite moments in this entire demonstration, and it is where we switch from Miles here to Peter, and just look how fast this is, where we arrive with Peter doing sit-ups hanging off of the side of a building. Nick, this reminds me almost of the Grand Theft Auto 5 character switching, where sometimes you would find a character like Trevor in a really weird situation. It just kind of brings me back to that, but of course, a lot quicker. Remember in GTA 5, the camera kind of dangled in that bird's eye view for a bit and then zoomed into the next character that you were switching to. Here, with the power of the PS5, it is an immediate and direct transfer from Miles to Peter, and I'm sure from Peter back to Miles like we saw in the gameplay demonstration. But also, I really want to point out here, Nick, that draw distance in the back. It looks like we are on the Manhattan side of things, and if you look at the bottom of the screen, that's actually the Raft, which is the prison in this game that's housing all of the Spider-Man rogue gallery in this game. And then across, you can see what I believe to be downtown Queens and some of the newer Queens area and Brooklyn area that we are going to get to explore in this game. So it's just a really great demonstration of the new areas that we have to explore. And God, it looks so beautiful.
It really does. It really showcases the power of the PS5, and I just got to say, as we continue to scroll through this, just how much of a show-off Peter is to be doing pull-ups or sit-ups on the side of a building like that. Like, it wasn't necessary, man. You didn't have to show off like that, but, you know.
Now, after we get through a bit of these gameplay segments with some new Peter and Miles gameplay here, we also get to see some really cool animations here with Peter and Miles just kind of doing a mid-combat bro check here. Really love this animation. And then we get another one of these cool new looks at the waypoint system in this game. Nick, we have some ideas of what this icon could be. It looks like a fire icon here, right?
Yeah, it sure does. Again, we have no idea what exactly this is, but to me, we see a character later on in this gameplay trailer that looks like he has a logo that is very similar to this, like on his chest, and that character looks like Butane, and it looks like the design of Butane from the upcoming Freshman Year cartoon, so I'm guessing that's what it is, but I guess it could be like a Molten Man or Hotshot or something like that, but I'm thinking it's Butane here.
And at the same time, we also see that Peter is almost scanning the city. You can kind of see this scanning motion, or this wave that is going throughout the city here. And as that wave spreads throughout the city, you can see these new waypoint markers, which are floating above different buildings. You can see that fire waypoint marker, and then in the distance you can see what looks like a camera. And we're going to look at some of these as how they appear on the map, but it just gives you a good insight into how you're going to be navigating this city. It looks like you are going to be able to see different things to do throughout the city without opening up your map. So it's just a more seamless way to interact with the environment and navigate around without having to constantly be pulling up your map in the game.
Now, the next shot we have here is incredibly exciting because Andreas, we've been wanting this character in this game. We made a whole video dedicated to people and characters we needed to see in this game, and it looks like we're getting one of our big wishes. To me, this is Mysterio, man. Like, Mysterio's going to be in this game. We actually look like we get a shot later in the trailer that looks like Beck outside of his suit, but this is incredibly exciting because this has been completely, like, hidden. They haven't said anything. They haven't hinted towards this. Like, we've got nothing about Mysterio being in this game, but looks like we're getting him.
Yeah, again, this is one of those waypoint markers that we see floating above the cityscape, this one being correlating to Mysterio, and there are actually some other waypoint markers that are associated with perhaps some other villains in the game, so we're going to dig into that in just a moment. But first, we get another example of one of these waypoint markers, which is one of these, what are they called, spider bots, Nick?
Yeah, I believe that's what Brian Intihar said in this little walkthrough here. And I gotta say, for some reason, I don't know why, it reminds me of the icon, the mission icons from the first Raimi Spider-Man game. I know it doesn't look like it, but it just reminds me of that, like the circular icon floating in the air that you have to go to, and it looks like it has like a spider logo in it there briefly. Like, for some reason, it just reminds me of that. And then we get this next shot of Peter, like, touching this force field, and then we see some of Kraven's like bird, vulture bots, whatever you want to call them, coming to attack him. I do wonder if this is where those icons are, like, will take you, because we see some of those icons with those bird bots on them. So I wonder if it's these little side missions where they're in this little force field and you got to fight them and destroy them all or something like that. I wonder if this is a look at one of those side missions.
Yeah, Brian Intihar refers to this invisible shield thing as the Hunter's Cloak Blind, so I'm wondering what that's all about. But apparently that is going to be a constant throughout this game, and those Vulture missions do look like they are going to be something throughout this game, the Techno Vultures, whatever those things are called. And Nick, this is what you were referring to earlier. This is our look at what we believe to be Mysterio, right? How are you liking this look for Mysterio?
You know what? I don't hate it. I actually think that is a good look for Quentin Beck, for Mysterio in this game. Like, of course, he's going to be suited up at some point, so it doesn't really matter what he looks like underneath, but I think that is a good representation of what I would expect him to look like in this universe for some reason, like whatever that means. But we're pretty sure this is Mysterio. Like, you see he's wearing the purple with the scarf, and it's got the green behind him, and he's reaching his hand out to what looks like Miles and Genki in front of him. Like, of course, it's not absolutely confirmed, I believe, at the very moment, but, like, come on, I think we're all thinking the same thing here. This is Mysterio.
And then we get more looks at some of those waypoint markers in the city, and one of these, Nick, this looks like a Prowler icon.
Yeah, it sure does. It looks like we got a Prowler icon, we got a couple of Brooklyn Visions Academies icons, we have some photography icons, a Spider-Man mission icon that we've seen earlier in this trailer. I think it's really cool that we're going to be able to see these icons appear up in the world, like for you to actually see as you're swinging around. I wonder if that is something you can toggle on or off, where if you don't want to see them all the time, you can turn them off, or if it's one of those things where maybe only when you scan the city is when you see it, like something like that. And then we also get a look at one of the main mission objectives here. It appears to me, Andreas, since it's the same name, Healing the World, that is just the overarching name of the main quest in Spider-Man 2 will just be Healing the World. And the objective this time is meet with Harry at his new lab. So we will be working with Harry. I wonder if we'll be working with him as Spider-Man or if we will be working with him as Peter. I'm just very interested to see what direction they go with in the story.
One other thing that I'd like to point out here is if you look at the bottom left here, you can see these rings throughout the city. And that looks like those are those points that you can fly through when you are using the web the web wings. Is that what they're called? Web wings? When you're flying with the web wings, and they give you a bit of a speed boost when you do go through those rings. And so that looks like a really cool traversal mechanic that is going to get you around the city a bit quicker than normal. Even with the web wings, when you're ordinarily using them, you've got these speed boosts that you can take advantage of as well. And as we go ahead here, this is another look at the Brooklyn Visions Academy. And remember that earlier mission, Senior Prank, it looks like this player has completed that mission now, and it has rewarded them with 3 items. It looks like one of those is XP, which is going to move you along the general level up progress meter, which we are going to see later on when we take our first look at the main menu. You're also going to get 80 tech parts and 8 city tokens from completing this mission. We'll explain what you can use these different collectibles to upgrade in this game when we take a closer look at that menu. We also get to take a look at another Brooklyn Visions Academy mission here. This one, again, Nick, like you were saying, these are very friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. This one is just helping a friend with their homecoming proposal. So these are much more lighthearted missions, and I think this is really going to make this game such a fun time, because you're going to be delving into not just the spider lives of Peter and Miles, but also helping them out a little bit in their personal life as well, which I think is really cool. And also, you get a look at the mission that I believe we saw earlier when there were fireworks shooting off of the top of that building. That's rooftop fireworks. This is just some guys are fooling around with fireworks. And again, these are just very small stakes things, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man missions that I think a lot of us are going to be excited and just spend countless hours diving into. Nick, this is something that I think you would enjoy. If you can see in the back right corner of this screen, it looks like a New York City pizza shop. Nick, I know you love those pizza delivery missions. Does this mean that we have confirmed pizza delivery missions in this game? I mean, we have these friendly neighborhood Spider-Man tasks. Maybe that could be one of them, a little throwback.
God, that would be awesome. I think this is a massive stretch from you in this case, Andreas, but oh my God, I would love that. And if they could find a way to bring the music back from the old Spider-Man 2 game while doing these, that would just be perfection.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would like to see out of this game. That is number 1 on my wish list, but yeah, it is a little bit of a stretch. Now, if you look at this what looks like an armored vehicle that's toppled over on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, it says Smith International. This is a reference to Alistair Smith, aka the Ultimate Spider Slayer, who was first seen in the Amazing Spider-Man comic line, and he even has a very brief cameo in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And there were a couple of these Smith International references throughout Spider-Man PS4, but this is just another chance for the Insomniac team to incorporate Alistair in Spider-Man 2. So, I mean, let us know in the comments down below. Do you think this is just another passive reference, or do you think this is going to be the return of Alistair into Spider-Man's Insomniac verse here? Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is just another classic example of Insomniac kind of building out their universe with characters that we know that may not be top tier characters, but you get references through little things here and there throughout their games. And I think it's just another instance of that being the case. Like I said, we've seen it in the past. Now, as we continue here, we get to see another look at one of those Brooklyn Vision Academy missions. Of course, that is what they're going to show us, or just these side quests. They're not going to give us any great story details other than now we know that it is a new foundation and that you're going to go help Harry at his lab. But here we get to see that Miles has completed the BV Club Fair mission, and again, he's rewarded with some XP. He gets some tech parts, and he gets 8 of those city tokens, which are the various different currencies in this game that you can use to upgrade your gadgets and your character and all of those kinds of things. They will be very useful throughout this game.
Now, coming up next here, we could spend an entire video delving into this and speculating on the new abilities here, but one thing that I briefly just want to touch on here, Nick, is that this is our first look at Peter's regular combat wheel, because we've seen the abilities wheel in the bottom left for Peter when he is wearing the symbiote suit. This appears to be Peter's abilities wheel when he's just wearing his regular suit, and it looks like there's a few different abilities here that have to do with those spider arms, and it's making me wonder if those spider arms are his main tool that he has to use when he doesn't have the symbiote suit, but then when he does have the symbiote suit on, he doesn't have access to those spider arms, and that's going to come into play with another point later on in this video. But just something to quickly note here, that it does look like we are going to get another abilities wheel for when Peter does not have his symbiote suit on.
Yeah, and this is not surprising. We made a whole video dedicated to what would Peter's abilities be when he's not in the symbiote suit, and these spider arms, spider legs were a great option. Of course, that is something they're going to focus on heavily in this game because it is one of their new features, and it appears that all 4 of those abilities are dedicated in some way to those spider arms. This just makes a ton of sense. This is stuff that you guys in the comments had suggested as a possible idea, and we agree with you. It made a ton of sense, and it looks like Insomniac agreed with you because that is exactly what they did. You're either getting these symbiote abilities or you're getting the spider arm abilities.
And then coming up next here, I love this shot. It is of Miles throwing what appears to be a snare drum into a truck that is hauling a piano. Just a cool shot. And then coming up, Nick, we have this tennis court fight with a character that we think is actually a familiar foe.
Yes, we sure do. We were talking about this character earlier in this breakdown when we were talking about that fire-like emblem. If you take a look at his apron, it looks like he's wearing a very similar emblem. And if you look around as to who this character could possibly be, we eventually settled on that we thought this was Butane. If you go look up Spider-Man freshman year and you look up Butane, which he is confirmed to be in this game or in this cartoon, this almost looks identical to the design from this upcoming cartoon. So we're not entirely sure, but we're pretty confident that this is actually going to end up being Butane, one of those more lesser known, I would say, villains in the Spider-Man universe.
Love a little bit of villain of the week in this game, so I'm wondering what other villains are going to be popping up. Now, this is our first look at the real expansive layout of the main menu in this game. We're looking at the map, and then you can see along the top of the screen here using L1 and R1, you can select different tabs, including your suits, which will show you guys, suit tech, which will also show you gadgets, which we have, skills we did not get a look at, abilities we didn't get a look at, missions we didn't get a look at, collections we also didn't get a look at, and moves lists, which they didn't show off. But we can show you the first few tabs here coming up. And they've, of course, blurred out a lot of these missions here that you can see on the mission list that's embedded into the map. There does appear to be a legend here, which is nice that you don't have to exactly be going back and forth between the missions tab and the map tab. There's a legend embedded into the map tab, which is cool to see. And then on the bottom right hand side, you can easily see your progress in this game. It looks like there is a general level tracker, which is associated with XP, which we see you can get XP by completing side quests in this game and presumably also main missions in this game. And then on the bottom, we get 4 unique types of collectibles in this game, which we will identify later on because we get to see exactly what they are when they're showing us different suit tech, and gadget upgrades. But we also have a few icons on the map here that might be a little fun to speculate about, right?
Yeah, we sure do. And also, I just want to point out at the top there where it says suits, it says 66. They did confirm that we will be getting over 65 brand new suits in this game, and there will be over 200 total customization options when it comes to suits when you consider all of the different variants, color schemes, all of that. And we will see later on there actually will be a lot of returning suits from the first 2 Spider-Man games, which is incredibly exciting. All of us were wondering if they were going to do that, and they will be doing that at launch, which is just great work over there at Insomniac. They're so hardworking. They just kill it every single time. But getting back to those icons, yes, we get to actually see the icons on the map menu. We see some familiar ones that we've already talked about, the photo one, the Prowler one, the Mysterio one. So if you look over on the left, we see like that vulture bot thing at the bottom, Kraven's vulture bird bot. That is what we were talking about earlier with that hunter cloak blinds area. That's what we think that's referring to. Then we see a Mysterio one, and then we get this weird like pink spider looking one. Perhaps it's like a wraith thing or something. I'm not entirely sure, Andreas, what we're dealing with here. And then, of course, we see the Prowler one. We see those Spider-Man missions where it looks like for those Spider-Man missions, you can use either or both of Miles and Peter for that, which would make sense because they are both Spider-Man. And then you have the photography one, and then the one at the top. To me, Andreas, This is pure speculation. I'm not entirely sure, but those do look like rocks. And when I think of rocks, I think, what do rocks break down into? Well, they break down into sand. And I think you can kind of guess where I'm going with this. Do we think there's any chance that Sandman also makes an appearance in this game?
Sandman confirmed. You heard it here first. Lunar Squadron has confirmed Sandman is in this game.
Yeah, don't tie us to that one. We're not confirming anything, of course. We're just speculating. This could just be like special like collectibles or currency, and they made it look like it's like rare gemstones as the icon, or like money or something like that. Like, it could be anything at this point, but I just thought it'd be fun to speculate about perhaps another character that was on our list making an appearance in this game.
Yeah, it is interesting that a lot of these icons do correlate to a Spider-Man villain, so that's why our headspace was in that particular area here. And then, Nick, this is probably one of my other favorite points in this video, and it is the fast travel animation here, where you see that you will hold down the triangle button to fast travel, and then look at this smooth transition from map to game here. Like, how cool is this? You like, it's a little 3D. Like, the map turns into slightly 3D, and then the purple hue turns into the in-game map, and like, this is just one of the coolest user interface features I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is very cool.
This is also one of the more impressive fast travel mechanics, because if you back it up a little bit to where he fast travels, if you look, he does not pick a particular icon. He just like picks a point on the street, like with his cursor, and that's where he fast travels to. It like takes him to where he's pointing. It doesn't take him to an icon or an objective like it does in other games.
Oh my god,
he just
you're right.
picks a city or picks a street in the city and then fast travels right to that point. Like, this is one of the most robust, impressive fast travel mechanics I have ever seen.
Another little detail here that I'm noticing is you can see the different windows on the building right in front of Miles here. We're in downtown Queens. You can see the interiors of those buildings. And it reminded me of that New York Times article where they're talking about how you can see more interiors, and there are different features that almost liven up the city, both in Queens here, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, which makes it all the more reason to go back and explore areas that you might think you're familiar with, but that might now have a newfound depth to them.
Yeah, that is really cool. And as we progress through here, we get to see the nice transition from the web wings into the suits, or into the web swinging, like they've talked about, that you're really going to want to combine the two to get around and traverse. And then as we continue, we get to see more just combat gameplay. We get to see Peter use his spider arms with this weird like cyclone-like ability. I do wonder if this is one of those L1 abilities that we will be seeing for Peter in this game. And then we get to see the gadgets portion of the menu, and this looks incredibly robust. It looks like you'll be able to upgrade these. You'll be able to change things in and out. You can spend tech parts and rare tech parts to actually upgrade different things. There'll be requirements, and this person clearly has no problem hitting those requirements because they're way over the minimum. But this is what you will be using tech parts and the rare tech parts that you earn and collect throughout this game to do. You will be upgrading your gadgets. You'll be able to change your gadgets out. It's like a nice continuation and progression from what we've seen in the previous Spider-Man games with those gadgets. It's just like with every single game, they just kind of add on and do something new and fresh with an already established system.
Yeah, I like the dimensionality that's been added to gadgets in this game. Looks like you've got 5 different gadgets along the left-hand side. You got web shooters, upshot, web grabber, concussion burst, and ricochet web. And it looks like, at least for web grabber, you have 5 level up tiers. And so it really will incentivize you to go out, collect collectibles throughout this world, and actually upgrade your gear, because it looks like these upgrades are going to be at least a little worthwhile. This upgrade for the web grabber allows you to grab enemies from longer distances. I'd love to speculate what the other icons are, but perhaps we can save that for another video here. You can see that he just gets that one, and they kind of demonstrate again the web grabber and how that works. And here, Nick, we get a look at the suit tech screen.
Yeah, this is incredibly cool. If you look over on the left, it gives you a little breakdown as to what you can upgrade: health, damage, focus, and traversal. And then it just shows you, like in the traversal thing here, the different upgrades you can get. Here we're looking at all-seeing, which will reveal tech crates on your mini-map, and it tells you how much it costs. You're going to have to turn in tech parts, and these other currency, the red with the spider logo on it, those are called hero tokens. So as you collect those, you will also be able to spend those on upgrades to your suit tech. So just so many things that you can upgrade in this game, so many reasons to continue playing and replaying and doing all these side quests to earn these currencies. Like, just so much stuff to do in this game on top of the side quests and the main quests. Just all of this. You can upgrade your suits, you can upgrade your tech, you can upgrade your gadgets, your skills, your abilities, like all of this different stuff you can do in this game. It's crazy how deep this game is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't even shown off the skill tree in this game, which it looks like based on the number icon over skills in the middle on the top of the screen here, there are 15 skills, and then you can see in the bottom right, he has 26 skill points. So there are surely going to be plenty of skills in the skill tree for this game that you will also be able to upgrade. So there's just so much upgradability here. And speaking of upgradability, this is actually one of the suits that you can unlock throughout the game, and you can unlock it early if you pre-order the game. I'm talking about Miles's Shadow Spider early access suit here, which is the one with the cowl, and then it transitions very smoothly into this suit, Nick. I believe this is the 10th anniversary Miles Morales suit, right?
Yes, it sure is. This whole sequence of gameplay here has just cool looks at some brand new suits that will be in this game. Quick little shots, but we don't miss these. Spider-Man fans don't miss these shots. This is such a cool suit. It's a very popular suit in the community for Miles Morales, and why wouldn't it be? It's just such a cool suit. And as we continue through here, we get to see this suit, which no idea what that one was, but I know what this one is, Andreas. This was our most requested suit. We made a video about it. I said it was non-negotiable. Insomniac, they put their money where their mouth is. They gave us the Raimi Trilogy black symbiote suit. I'm so excited. Like, this on its own got me out of my seat. I cannot wait for this. This is going to be my go-to suit. Like, oh my God, they actually did it.
Yes, they did. And one thing that I'm really wondering, This shot has gotten me really curious. I'd almost love to have a more extended discussion about this, but it's very interesting to me that he's wearing the black suit here, and he's also got his spider arms or spider legs, whatever they're called, because it's making me wonder if there is a dichotomy in this game between having the spider arms abilities and having symbiote powers. It is interesting to me that this is technically a symbiote suit from the Raimi Trilogy, and you might not be able to use those symbiote abilities when you are wearing this symbiote suit. Makes me wonder if you're only going to have those symbiote abilities when you're using the Insomniac's Spider-Verse symbiote suit. So just food for thought here, and it's something that I'm generally really curious about. It's something that we've actually talked about in the past, and this is just another data point that's making me feel like we're only going to be able to use Insomniac's symbiote suit when we have symbiote abilities in this game.
Yeah, that's a really great catch, Andreas, and I would love to sit down and have a more in-depth conversation because I think this topic really definitely deserves it. But like you said, very interesting that this doesn't look like it's going to be a symbiote suit. It looks like it's just going to be a variant of the Raimi suit, which to me, since we know there are going to be variants, confirms that the main normal Raimi suit will be in this game, which is reasonable to expect with the symbiote suit version in this game. So I just wonder if you can only wear it when you're just normal Peter, not symbiote suit Peter. Just interesting decision, which it makes sense because in Spider-Man 3, if you think back to it, like, he never really uses any symbiote powers while he's wearing the suit in the movie. So, like, that's a great way for them to get away with it while still including the suit in the game, what everybody wants. And I just wonder if we're going to also be seeing the different variants of the Amazing Spider-Man suit and all of the MCU suits now that we know that some of the film suits will be in this game in some way or another. But as we continue through here, we get a look at some incredible suits in this game, just more looks. It's kind of how this trailer finishes off here. We get to see Peter wearing the Arachnite pre-order early unlock suit as we continue this great gameplay of Miles taking out this bad guy from Kraven. And then we get to see this transition here where we actually see Miles wearing his Puerto Rico suit. This is a really cool suit. I'm excited that they're actually able to include a bunch of different variants for Miles Morales. This was something I was a little worried about just because he doesn't have as much of an established history as Peter does with different suits, but it definitely looks like Insomniac went the extra mile and got very creative and just found cool different suits. And speaking of really cool suits, Andres, we get to see this look here at the suit menu, and there's a lot of stuff to kind of get through here quickly. First, we see that he is on Miles, and this is the family business suit. And if you're taking a look at the menu, you'll actually notice some suits returning from the Miles Morales game, which confirms that there will be suits coming back from the previous games, which was a big question that people had. Would they only do brand new suits, or would they find a way to include suits from Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales? Well, here we have confirmation that suits will be returning from the previous games. And Andreas, if you take a look at the back behind him, where you look at Peter, he is actually wearing one of the brand new Scarlet Spider suits, which is incredibly exciting. I was really excited to see that. And it looks like you'll just press L2 and R2 and you'll kind of cycle between the two characters. But a lot going on here. And lastly, on this little menu shot here, before we continue on to the next shots, you will see that it will show you the different styles you can do for the suits when you highlight it, and how you will upgrade them, which will be via tech parts and city tokens that you will earn throughout your gameplay experience.
Yeah, and the game actually shows you that when you hold square to craft styles, the game will gladly accept your tech parts and city tokens, and you will unlock 4 different suit styles. In this case, you have the original style on the left of the family business suit, and then you have 3 new color variations to the right of that, so you have 4 total variations. I'm wondering if we will have 4 total variations per suit. It looks like that is at least the case for this next suit, which, Nick, this looks like it's somewhat of a Prowler suit, maybe?
Yeah, this definitely looks like it has some Prowler inspiration. I see it in the color scheme, of course, and the eyes. The eyes really remind me of the Prowler mask. I'm not entirely sure. If you guys know down below in the comments what this exact suit and its variants are, definitely let us know. But to me, I'm thinking this is some sort of Prowler variant from Miles. That would make a lot of sense when they're getting creative. They said they're going to get creative and include a bunch of different stuff. But then we get this third look at a set of suits, and this one is incredibly exciting because, Andreas, this is the superior Spider-Man suits. I'm so excited for this, and some variants for it. Really love this suit. That's a great one. And then the fourth set of suits here are the variants and original version of the classic suit from Marvel's Spider-Man PS4. If you guys remember, before the advanced suit comes into play, you actually have this suit. It gets all messed up, torn up, and you actually end up getting the advanced suit as an upgrade to what you were wearing. But really cool to see this one return. I always thought this was a great looking Spider-Man suit, and I wish we would have gotten to see it more in the game before they kind of destroyed it like they do all Spider-Man suits in Spider-Man media. But happy to see this one's coming back.
Now, one small detail that I'm noticing here is if you look at the bottom of the screen, if you press triangle, it'll show you where to find. And this is kind of big for one reason, and that is that you'll have to find these suits. So that's kind of cool. And the game will show you where to find the suit. So we were wondering different ways that we could unlock suits in the game. We thought maybe progressing through the game might lead you to suits, but it looks like in addition to that, you might also be able to find suits. Maybe this will actually mark a specific mission that will unlock the suit, but it looks like the game will kind of hold your hand on how to unlock certain suits, which is nice, so you're not aimlessly wandering around wondering where to find your favorite suits in this game.
Yeah, that is really cool. And we also saw that with the gadget screen. There was the where to find at the bottom. So I just wonder how robust that's going to be. Is that talking about, the different suits and the gadgets, where to find them, or is that more about like currency, like where to find the currency? I'm just interested to see what where to find actually does end up meaning in the context of this game. But as we continue, we get to see just some more suits. We get to see here the Shadow Spider early unlock suit for Miles. Of course, it is like the Assassin's Creed style suit. I'm really excited to try this one out. And this is actually one of the variants of that suit. Really excited for this one. And then this one is sick. This one's really cool. This is actually the black and white variant of the Spider-Man 2099 suit. And I love this suit, so I'm really excited to see this one return. There's so many cool suits that they're bringing out of this Spider-Man lore and universe and putting into this game. Like, this really feels like a love letter to Spider-Man and Spider-Man fans and just the universe, just with how deep this game is, and 65 plus different suits and 200 plus different variants and all of this stuff to do. You can be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and you can save the world from Venom and all of this cool stuff. Like, there are just going to be so many hours put into this game by the time we're all said and done. It needs to be October 20th is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely it does, because I am so over the moon excited for this game, and over the moon excited to explore the new areas of this game, like this that we're seeing here. This is the Grand Army Plaza Arch in Brooklyn. We saw this initially in the New York Times article, and we're getting some more looks at just the beautiful areas that we have in this game with so many trees and foliage, and it just looks so nice. I'm so excited to explore around this game. And this trailer is coming to a close here, but first we've got, some new symbiote looks. Nick, notably, not too much symbiote in this trailer. They're kind of leaving a lot of the symbiote to our imagination. It's really making me wonder, how many different abilities there will be that we haven't seen when we get our hands on the game. This ability here, this is Miles, and this one really reminds me of the Web Blossom ability from Spider-Man PS4. I don't know if you can see that, Nick, but that's kind of what this one reminds me of here.
Yeah, it's like his discharge that you see in Miles Morales with all of his Venom powers. Like, he builds up the electricity and just unleashes it all upon his enemies. Really excited. I wonder if that's going to be more of like an ultimate ability, like an L1, R1 type move. Really excited for that one. And as we close out here, this is, the trailer's coming to an end here. We get to see more of the symbiote suit here at the very end. I completely agree with you. They really kept the symbiote suit and Venom close to the chest. They really are not showcasing much, which I think is the right idea and the right decision, just because that is going to be so imperative to the story of this game. And I don't think any of us really want to know more about the story. We want to experience it for ourselves. So I think that was the right choice, and I just cannot wait to learn how Venom plays into the story and how the symbiote suit plays into the story. And then you have Mysterio apparently now running around, potentially a Sandman. We have all Miles and Peter's missions, and Harry's roaming around somewhere, and somewhere out there Norman is up to his traditional Norman things. And do any of the villains return from the previous games? Like, this game is going to be so deep and so in depth, and I just have so much faith that Insomniac is going to just kill this, knock it out of the park. And if this gameplay trailer here is any indication, they've at least killed the open world combat, traversal, suit, upgrade, all of that stuff component of this game. Now they just got to get the other half of it, and that is the story, and I have complete faith in them that they are going to do it. Anyway, guys, that is our complete breakdown of the brand new State of Play Marvel Spider-Man 2 open world gameplay trailer. This was such an incredible surprise. Like we've been saying, the marketing for this game is finally starting to ramp up, and it ramped up in a massive way. So let us know down below in the comments what your favorite aspect of this trailer was. What was your favorite suit that you saw? What got you excited? What got you out of your seat and cheering for this trailer? Because I know there's got to be something out there. For me personally, it was that Raimi symbiote suit. We definitely want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Anyway, that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.